Well, I guess this is a knight in shining armor. I thought they were extinct. So let's see what questions we have only on Paranormal, True or False. It is free to subscribe. Please subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thank you. Is this a peeper? As the camera pans around this trash building, suddenly we will see the head of a child. Oh my god, it's the scariest thing in the world. It's a child. Run for your lives. Actually, the only thing that's wrong here is if that child is not related to that camera operator, then the camera operator should have called authorities because that could be a missing child or a runaway. But it's not a ghost. This is definitely a pissed off poltergeist. As this individual explores this space, we see a bunch of white chairs, and then all of a sudden, these chairs start moving, seemingly on their own. Initially, they move towards the door, but then they just start piling up. What is going on? Well, if it's a demon, it's a pretty pathetic demon because it's spending all of its eternity taking its aggressions out on plastic chairs. If it's a ghost, then it's a pretty powerful entity because it takes a lot of energy to be able to move all these chairs. If it's a poltergeist, then it didn't do a good job of scaring this guy off. So for keeping score, that is 1 point for the ghost and -1 point to both the demon and the poltergeist. So this guy, he braves the elements, and now that ceiling light's not powerful enough to move those chairs. But he goes inside the room and he turns on the lights. And lets us see by panning around the room that there's nobody else there. Now, for me personally, the way I would recreate this is I would have taken the string from a couple of chairs that were further back and pulled that string into other chairs that caused this pile up. So that's how I would recreate this scene. If I was a night janitor or a security guard that was bored and wanted to recreate footage like this, that's what I would do. Is that what this guy did? Probably. Because right here, as he pulls back out of the room, the camera and his body is moving a lot, and it's probably because he's pulling on the string. Is this house haunted? We have several clips for this house where objects will suddenly move, and there's no rhyme or reason as to why they're moving. Each of these clips occur on the same day, but spaced out over time. We will start with whatever that black object is in the middle of the floor. I don't know if it's a fabric, a shoe, I'm not sure what it is, but it slides across the floor. After that happens, suddenly one of the pillows that's on the love seat in the lower left-hand corner falls off the love seat. And still, we don't see anybody in the room. For whatever reason, we have a camera in the bathroom, and in the lower right-hand corner, we will see objects start to fall and also fly from the sink. So sometime later, we're still in the bathroom, and then the last of the toothbrushes fall. Now we're in another room of the house, when all of a sudden, the TV comes on. Again, it appears like nobody's in the room. Camera angle changes. A light we can't see turns on. All the kitchen drawers open, and the ceiling light starts flashing around, and objects start flying out of the drawers. How do I know or suspect that this is all staged? I have security cameras in my house, and none of them are in the bathroom. Typically, only pervs put cameras in bathrooms. The only exception is paranormal investigators trying to capture activity, or people trying to fake paranormal activity. But the telltale for me was this camera being changed. At this angle to capture the TV, we only see 2.5 drawers in the kitchen there. But when the camera angle, that's supposed to be a security camera, changes its angle to capture 3.5 drawers, that was the final straw for me. So each one of these paranormal activities could very easily be faked with using string, except for the TV, in which you're simply off camera with a remote control. What is this thing hiding from them? As these individuals are exploring this abandoned building, they look outside that door and see nothing but a brush pile. However, later in the evening, they may find something else. As the camera pans to the right, we see for a split second something peeping in around that door frame. They think they see something when it pans again, and then they rush over, and you'll see that there's just brush all around it, where nobody could really get into that space because of all this brush. But there is a little bit of wiggle room in there. So let's zoom in. On the left hand side of that door frame, you'll see something peeking around the frame. It's a lighter color that blocks out some of that darkness in the background. What is that? Could it be a bird? It looks like a profile of a head with dark hair, and it's facing downwards. Do you see the nose? Now it looks like we see part of the shoulder or part of the body. This is one of those where I could see how it could be faked, but I think it might be real. This is just creepy. So throughout this clip, we will see the camera operator's breath because of how cold it is. So don't confuse the fogginess of the breath as part of the paranormal. As he has this camera pointed into this space, we will suddenly see a pot fly across the room. Who or what threw that pot? Is it a ghost? Now we've backed out of this space and we're going to look through a window over in the side of this building. And initially it doesn't look like there's anything there. But then when we go back and we look again, on the other side of those slats, it looks like there's a figure in there. Then it disappears. When we zoom in, we can see it a little bit more clearly. It almost looks like Yoda or Shrek. This time we even see the hand. What is this thing? My guess is that it's somebody living and in a costume, and the same person threw the pot earlier. It's not every night that you come across a knight in shining armor. So for whatever reason, we have a flashlight and we're walking outdoors in a field with trees, and I have no clue where we're at, but all of a sudden we will come up to and see some figure in the distance. We freeze with the light on that figure. Who is it? What is it? Why are they there? This is one of those where I would not assume it was paranormal, and I would assume that they have some type of weapon and I would actually start hauling my rear end out of the area. Because in this scenario, the living is much more dangerous than a ghost. So either our camera operator doesn't have a survival instinct, or they're in on this hoax, this prank, and it's all staged. My guess is they're just trying to create some type of a creepy footage film. Maybe they're trying to become filmmakers, um, or they're just trying to get viral views. It's hard to say, but it's definitely just a person in a costume that has, I can't tell if that's an axe or a shovel, but either way, you, in real life, if this was a real situation, you run from it. You don't follow it. Although I have to laugh and wonder if the figure in the costume was waiting for someone to come along with a flashlight so he could find his way home. He was probably looking down at a flashlight going, "Man, my flashlight went out. I need to get home. Oh, thank God this idiot has showed up with a flashlight that has a very powerful beam. Now I can transverse all these rocks and go home." Sorry, now I'm just creating a dialogue for this film. Ooh, brave stance. Yes. Don't forget, for drama, we must have the conqueror's pose. Work it, baby, work it. What is this ghostly figure? So the camera operator is switching between the guitar player and the gentleman on the left who is singing. Apparently the space that they're in isn't allowing him to continuously keep both of them in frame. Then we have the camera go exclusively on the guitarist before it swings back to the singer, and there's a ghostly figure behind the singer. Is this staged? Now, once we swing back to the singer, there's nobody behind him. It appears that that is a sliding glass door and that there is a balcony or a deck out there, but it doesn't really explain what that figure is. So it would be easy to put some type of a costume on and go stand out there, but I don't know if that's what's happening or not happening. But I did find it suspicious that he was exclusively pointed at the guitarist before he swung fully over the singer. That split second of time when that window was not in frame could enable someone to move from the side over there. And then when the camera goes back towards the guitarist, they're able to move out of frame. And what you didn't see at the beginning of this frame is that the singer actually had the camera initially and handed it over to the camera operator. So was this all planned? I'm not sure on this one. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Is this another ghostly beeper? As this camera is pointed at this doorway, suddenly we will see someone peeping around the doorframe. It appears the camera is on a stationary tripod. The blue flash that we see is actually editing. They edited the footage to include this like blue flash. I don't know why. This guy looks like the guy from the previous clip. Again, this is something that you can easily put on a costume and just fake this, but I don't know if it's fake or not. Is this table possessed? So the stage is set to try and capture paranormal activity, and right off the bat we have a moving table. Unfortunately, I do not know if there's anybody else in the building or in this room. I do like this setup of using a mirror and then using candles like a runway, and then maybe a trigger object in front of it. So we have the mirror acting as a portal, and then maybe a strong entity came through that portal and right into that table. Problem that I have is that it is so easy to recreate that activity by simply using string. It appears like this guy was leaning down or squatting down and then kind of jerked up when the table started moving. So his jerky motion of getting up quickly does make me think that at least he was not aware that that table was going to move. So it may be real, but I still can see how it could be faked. Is this door possessed? As this gentleman walks down these stairs, suddenly the door in front of him will open, seemingly by itself. So what caused those doors to open? Was there a vacuum where some other doors were opened? Was string used? Is there someone on the other side of those doors that just swung them open, pranking these two on this side? I'm not convinced this is paranormal, simply because a similar situation happens in the next clip to these same guys. So in another space of this building, we come across another door that is moving the cat ball at the bottom and opening at the same time. This is from the same guys as the previous clip. Now the door itself is causing the cat ball to light up, but it just seems odd to me that they captured the same activity in two different areas. Are these investigators a magnet for possessed doors? Or are they just really good at rigging doors to open on their own? What do you think on this clip and the previous clip? Are these investigators legit? Or are they faking this stuff? What is this shadowy person? These girls are suddenly startled by a shadow that wanders off into this back room. Just as the camera pans around, we see a dark shape disappear around the corner of that wall. Who is it and what is it? The backstory on this is that the teenage girl that's holding the camera decides to go scare her sister by taking the camera in it and catching her sister dancing. One of them sees a shadow, which causes them to dart into this other room, and then we see the shadow being captured. Is it all staged? I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you agree or disagree with my analysis, please leave a comment below. You will find links to social media platforms for this channel as well as for Jim Riley in the description below. Be safe and don't investigate alone. If you appreciate this type of analytical analysis, please subscribe. And remember, question everything. Thanks for watching Paranormal, True or False.